Hi everyone, my name is Shubham Dhar and I'm developer advocate at DronaHQ. Today we are going to talk about some of the main features of DronaHQ which helps you to make your app development much more faster and flexible. We'll start directly with connectors and after login this is the page you will get into. Right on the left hand side you will have all the connectors section. So databases are building blocks of creating any of the application, and to connect to databases, whether it be databases or third-party APIs, DronaHQ provides ready-made connectors. Like you can just navigate right here, click on connector. You will find list of databases as well as third-party APIs through which you can connect your database and make it available to work on your application. So let's see how to connect MySQL connector. So give it a name. So for the first option, in general, you can directly paste your general connection string or connect via AWS, or you can also provide secret manager. For this, I'll go the very basic method which is provided right here. You can configure other things like connection options, dynamic database host, and other toggles are also provided here. To know more about it, you can always reach out to our documentations. I'll just click on test connection and it is showing me a connection successful message. So all I have to do now, just save it and it will be available to write any queries on it. Right here you can see the option is given to us as add query. You can write query directly from here or also from your application builder, which we'll see in the later on this video. So let's say I want to fetch all the details, so get data. Right here you will find all the schemas which are available in your database. So I want to select from, let's say, so after testing it is showing me a good response and I'll just save it. The query is ready and we can use it further in our application. Okay, moving on, we'll talk about the controls. You can access controls from your application builder, plus app, create your app. So once the application builder opens up, on the left hand side you will find list of controls. These controls are building elements for your application development, and you can just drag and drop any sort of control you want. There are different types of control which can be useful to showcase your data, to work with your data, or to just get an input from the user also. So right here you can see there are different categories, features, basic, selection. You just have to drag and drop it on your builder and this will be available. So I mean, there are many other controls which you can try it on your own. One of the most used control is table grid. Now table grid control is control by which you can input data. You can also showcase data and also do some variation with existing data from your database. So let's see how to interact with the control. On the right hand side you will find all its properties. So first part is about content. Get some data into the control. You either provide some static value which should match what is provided right here in the expected format, or you can provide some dynamic values which you can get it from either keyword, control, connector query, library, and so on. So for this I'll just use connector library and let's search from, let's say, so this is the connector data query, and click on test. Let's see. Okay, I just have to change the name right here. Cool. The data query which we wrote earlier, we are now using that to fetch the data and make it showcaseable on the, but also you can access it from the right and left hand side of data queries right here. This was all about the content, and so on. Further you will find different other properties, like you can find on the add-ons, search bar, how to make these columns editable. You can just click on here and let's say I just want name and department to be editable. So you see there is a small pencil like icon showcased right over here, which is actually telling us that this particular column is ready to be editable, and this can be done in the user interaction when we are actually previewing the app. Similar to this, there are other, like for the appearances, you can change the theme, you can change the color. Like let's say if I just want an odd and even different color pattern, I can select that too. In the advanced section, this part is quite common for all the controls we have. Like you can add external css, which will give you a much more customization feature to modify your control. And then we have trigger dependence, caching, fit hyperscreen. Well, in the interaction part, you can add several add-ons. Now this is totally dependent on which type of control you are working with. Now moving on, when we have already the database and also the UI, next part is to trigger certain actions. Now for that, first of all, you have to get to know how to trigger the action and what kind of action you need to trigger. To trigger an action, we have dedicated events for each and every, I would say most of the controls. Like you can find right here as an event, you can right click here and let's say I want to add a save changes event. And when I click on it, it will open nice action flow builder. This will now, whenever a person will click on the save changes, it will run through this whole action flow. From start, between the start and the end, you have different options to provide actions, like you have branch, iterate through, logic, navigate, and native, and different other actions. Some of the actions are also dedicated for mobile use cases, like we have for the native. You can open a file or read a file or write file from mobile storage, and let's see how it can be actually useful. So right here I've created a whole action flow for you to understand how it actually helps you to interact with the data, whatever you are receiving from the user as well as in the backend. So the first the idea behind is to get all the edited rows from the table grid and send it as a data query getting hit to make changes in the database and make it available in our display. So first part, I am iterating through each and every changes, and then secondly I am saving those change data into a JSON object right here using custom JavaScript or action. And then on success of this, I'm also triggering a data query action, which is actually a new data query which I have created to update data in backend. You can see I'm using variables right here to pass parameters, and then on the basis of ID I'm selecting it. So in this variable section, I'm passing on the keyword, which like actually a very good feature in DronaHQ, by which you can target any of the data from your application. So right now this is targeting the edited data I'm receiving in the JSON object. So that particular department, the salary, ID, and name, and so on. So you can just save it and it's ready. So before we preview the app, I would like to also reset the control data. So I'll just click on table grid. Since the table grid also trigger dependent, so I'll just this one and save. Now let's see how it's actually working. Now when I'm doing a preview, this particular whole column is editable. So if I write Jesse, you see the database got changed, and you can also check the logs. So right here you can see these are all the data queries which I have initiated, and you can check on the timeline, you can check on the watch list. Next we will talk about automations, which is a very powerful feature at DronaHQ. Enables you to trigger events based on timing schedulings or some webhook dependent on the third-party API services. To create an automation, just click on add automation, provide a name. This is our automation builder. This and start prompts you to select a trigger between scheduler, which enables you to schedule tasks at a specific interval of time, or webhook, in which you have to connect with the external third party service, and it will keep a check whether an event get fires, and then it will respond accordingly. So if I want to create a scheduler, let's say, just provide the time zone interval, or it's a cron job, you can provide. After that, you will be able to work with the different automations block like DronaHQ manage databases, file storage, pdf, and others, and also branching, iteration, and using js objects. Now, this to know more, you can again refer to our docs at dronahq.com, and there is a well written docs how to work with automations and understand more about it.